Welcome back, everybody. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the best Damn EDC, and it's time for another video. Today, I have something a little different for you. I'm not covering 8 products in one video. I'm not going to ramble forever. I'm covering one product, a brand new product that comes from a brand I've not talked about before, really, James brand. And I have to thank my friend Zach over at Blade HQ. He actually sent me this knife, which is the James brand Carter, because he said it looked like a me knife, and I can't agree with him more. It's everything I love in a knife. It's my Carter. That's not all there is to the James brand Carter, so that's what this video is about. I just want to talk to you guys about this brand new knife. So with that said, let's do the damn thing. So here we are with the James brand Carter, and if you're unfamiliar with the James brand itself, something you should know about them is that they pay very close attention to tiny details and design, and they focus on things that a lot of other knife makers don't. And that is evident from their product pages on their website all the way down to the packaging. And this is what the James brand Carter comes in: a wooden block with a piece of paper wrapped around it, and it's extra. It's definitely extra, and James brand does not shy away from that. But they have so many little details that they add in that are really, really neat. This little piece of felt acts as a cover in the packaging, but it's also a little knife slip, so you could use this to carry your knife if you opt for the lanyard option with this knife. So just a little detail right there, and then a wooden block, which is definitely different from most of your standard knife packaging. Like I mentioned, the lanyard loop. So this comes with a pocket clip installed. Underneath here, you'll find the lanyard loop. I've pulled that out for now, and I'll show you why in a minute. But yeah, James brand just kind of goes the extra mile with packaging and their website and their product pages. It's they've definitely got a knack and an eye for design and pretty things. I would liken them to like an Apple of the knife world almost. And to be fair, that's not all bad. They make very, very pretty products. I've just not really had much opportunity to get my hands on those. This is actually the second James brand knife I've had. The first being the Elko. This is the Urban EDC Supply exclusive Elko, also an OD green micarta. We're not talking about that. We are talking about the James brand Carter, and what you get with this knife is a 6.75 inch overall length. You have a 3-inch blade with a 2.8 inch cutting edge. This is VG10 steel with a high saber flat grind and a drop point. And this is the satin version. There's also a coated black version of the blade. And all the hardware also comes black. So if you get a black blade, you get all black hardware, black clip, black everything. The scales on this one are micarta. You also have a micarta backspacer. The other versions are all G10. They come in gray and black. And you have obviously various versions and combinations of hardware and colors. Your thumb disc on the other versions is the traditional lime green or neon green from James brand. You get a super deep carry pocket clip on this. The clip actually extends past the scales by about 1/8 of an inch. You get not an axis lock on this knife. This is actually called an ambi slide lock, so ambidextrous slide lock, which is effectively an axis lock. It's basically the exact same function. If you take these little covers off, these are just little shrouds that bolt onto the axis lock itself, and if you take those off, it looks pretty much exactly like an axis lock. This one is a thumb disc, so you don't get a thumb stud on this. This is a thumb disc that works from both sides. And if you look inside, there are liners throughout the entire handle, which is something a little different from similar knives, we'll say. But that's pretty much all there is to know about the Carter. So my thoughts on this knife: I've been using it for about 6 days as my daily carry knife, and I have very few complaints. One thing I noticed right out of the box is that the blade centering is a little off. Some people were saying that they had blade play issues back and forth, side to side, up, down. I've not had any whatsoever. And the interesting thing about those comments is those people across the board, I've had several people reach out to me and say they tightened the pivot and the blade play got worse, which is very odd. None of that in my model whatsoever. I've not had a single issue beyond the blade centering. That is literally it. The thumb disc is definitely not my favorite method of opening a knife, but the thumb disc, it's not that it's difficult to open, it's that the thumb disc itself is smooth. So there's no jimping, there's nothing that gets any bite. I'm used to pushing in the direction I want the knife to go, which is open. Push up that way, and you can get it that way, but if there is anything on your finger, I went to the bathroom earlier, my hands were still a little wet, and I pulled out my knife, and I could not open it that way. What you have to kind of learn to do with the thumb disc is swing it out. Just push to the left, and it works every time, but it's just it's not as satisfying as pushing up and the knife going where you want it to go. The other thing about this knife is the action is actually quite good. I've never really had any issues with it opening or closing. It's not going to drop shut on you. The thing about it is that it feels almost mushy, and I don't actually think it is. I think it's actually how dead the sound is more than the feeling, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel mushy, it just doesn't have a satisfying sound when you flick it open. It's just kind of muted. So the knife that will most get compared to the Carter is probably the Bugout, and it's a knife that I'm very familiar with, and just listen to the difference in the sounds. And this is not a stock Bugout, but the stock Bugout sounds great anyway. And it's really dumb to talk about sounds, but it's just something that stuck out to me. The sound of this, click, just firm, crisp, and the sound of this one is just very muted. And I think it has something to do with the micarta scales. I could be wrong. The acoustics are just weird, but this one is very loud, very crisp, and it just makes it seem mushy when it's not. The action is actually really great on this knife. No problems with it. It just sounds and feels weird, which is just still throwing me off after using it for almost a week. And since we're comparing these two knives, they're actually very, very similar in weight as well. The stock Bugout is about 1.8 ounces, and this one is 2.5 ounces. So very, very similar in weight, which is kind of surprising. This one feels heavier, and I think it's just because it's so much thicker. This one's a 1/2 inch thick, and it just feels a little more substantial in the hands. And the ergonomics on this knife are really actually quite great. It just kind of falls into place in your hand. The clip is a little weird. It's always there. It's not a hot spot, I wouldn't say, but you're not going to forget that clip is there when you're using the knife. And since we're talking about the clip, I don't really like the appearance of this clip. It's just very bland. For a knife that's so handsome and good looking, the clip is very vanilla. The actual design of the clip is cool. I like the way the clip is attached, but the actual appearance of it, like, give it some lines. Do something other than this. Like, you've got this nice, smooth, rounded knife, and then you have this weird boxy clip. And while we're at it, I'm going to install the lanyard because I want to point out one more flaw. So this clip is reversible. It's always tip up carry, but you can put it on either side, left or right. But it also comes with this lanyard that you can install if you take the clip out, which is one thing. I wish you could put the lanyard in with the clip. That's not possible. But all you do is slide this into the hole that the clip came out of and tighten the screw back down, and you've got yourself a lanyard loop. Two things. Using this knife without the clip feels very, very weird because the clip is usually what I hold onto to flick it open and especially to close it. So when I go to close it without the clip, it's weird. You have to adjust your grip. It's something you'd probably get used to. The big thing about not using the clip that I don't like, and James Brand told me this was not how the knife was supposed to be, you have an empty screw hole right here. There is no additional screw to put in that hole. That's just how the knife ships. So if you use the lanyard loop, you've got a body screw hole that's just empty, which drives me insane. So I've not carried it like this. I would like to, because I actually like the look of this knife 10 times more without this clip on it. But that just kills me. Look at that. That's rough. All things considered, I'm really digging this knife, even with VG10 steel, which is a stainless steel. It's not going to have your edge retention of higher end steels like S35V and S30V or anything like that, but it's going to have better edge retention and maybe even better corrosion resistance than 8CR, 9CR, and your lower end steels. So it's a good mid-range steel, but we have to address the elephant in the room, and that is the price of this knife. This knife is $139 to $159, depending on which model. This model is $159. The G10 versions are $139. And for VG10 steel, that's asking a lot, because most of your VG10 knives are in the ballpark of $50 to $90, not $150. And that's just kind of something that you have to expect from James Brand. Their prices are just kind of like that. I wouldn't fault this knife for VG10 steel. I think VG10 is fine, especially now that I've learned how to sharpen a knife pretty easily. I have no problem using a knife that needs to be sharpened more. In fact, I enjoy sharpening a knife. So when I'm using a knife that doesn't have to be touched up fairly often, I still want to because I enjoy that process. It's kind of relaxing. So with a knife with VG10 steel, I don't mind that poor edge retention. I really don't, but you're in the ballpark of the Bugout when you're talking about the price of this, but you're getting a lower grade steel for more money. So with all of that said, I think this is a very compelling knife. I think maybe the most compelling knife from James Brand to date, except for maybe the Clovis, which is their new knife actually made in America. So this is a Chinese knife. They have a knife that's now made by Millet in America. It's a button lock, and it's actually pretty nice looking, but it's also $400. So the pricing is just something you're gonna have to get past if you like the designs of James brand, and I do like this knife. I really love it without a pocket clip, which is not me at all. I'm a fan of pocket clips, but that missing screw is just killing me. I need a screw to fill that hole, and I would really love this knife as is because it feels so good in the hand without that pocket clip. There you have it. That is the James brand Carter, a very classy knife that is definitely going to turn some heads. That's going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful and you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to see more stuff like this in the future, and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. And if you want to support what I do here, hit those links down below. Most importantly, if you want a James brand Carter, hit that link down below. That's an affiliate link. Many of the other links down below are also affiliate links. If you purchase anything using those links, I get a little bit of a cut of the sale, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's the best of both worlds. We both win. So if you like the show, consider using those links below all of my videos. You can also go to patreon.com/bestmedc to support there. And you can also go to carrycommission.com or carry.best and purchase gear directly from me. Merch, branded gear, stuff that I've actually customized with my own hands. Carry.best. You can support me there. Be sure to follow us around the web. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at bestmedc. There's now a Facebook page and group that you can join. And of course, with all of that said, and until next time, carry on.